If there's one open secret that followed the WNBA all last season, it's this. Caitlin Clark has been targeted with some of the dirtiest, most blatant physical fouls we've seen in modern league history. And somehow, it's still being treated like background noise. For someone who revitalized the league's visibility, pushed attendance and TV ratings to all-time highs, and brought millions of new fans to women's basketball, you'd think protecting her would be a no-brainer. Instead, game after game, she's subjected to elbows, hip checks, face slaps, and some of the most baffling non-calls we've ever seen. And just when it seemed like maybe, just maybe, the league was waking up to how glaring the double standards were, this preseason game between the Indiana Fever and the Atlanta Dream served as a blunt reminder. Some things still haven't changed. This was Indiana's final preseason game, a road test in Atlanta after 2 strong showings. The Fever had already picked up wins against Dallas and Washington and were heading into this matchup with momentum and confidence. It may have been labeled preseason, but the intensity and edge on the court said otherwise. For Indiana, it felt like a tone setter, a measuring stick not just for rotations and chemistry, but for how they'd respond to adversity on the road. The Fever opened sharp and focused. Kelsey Mitchell, one of the most underrated scorers in the league, immediately went to work. She connected with Natasha Howard on a textbook pick and roll, resulting in an easy hook shot inside. Then she kept one for herself, faking the handoff and gliding to the rim for a smooth finish. Caitlin Clark, as always, made her presence felt early, not just with her scoring, but her command of the floor. After snagging a defensive rebound, she pushed the ball coast to coast, slicing through the defense like a blur and laying it in. Her transition speed and court vision make her a threat the moment she crosses half court, and Atlanta quickly felt it. But the Dream didn't back down. Rookie Tahina Paopao, fresh out of Oregon, made her presence known with back-to-back tough finishes. She played like she belonged, showing off not just speed, but creativity in the lane and surprising maturity in her reads. This was her introduction to the WNBA stage, and she didn't blink. Meanwhile, Clark continued orchestrating, dropping a no-look dime to Aaliyah Boston for the and one, then pulling up from deep for a signature 3 from the top of the arc. She makes that shot look effortless, and it sparked momentum for Indiana, who led 21-16 at the end of the first. The second quarter was all fireworks. Clark wasted no time hitting another triple before the defense had even rotated. Then came the flare, a behind-the-back move that shook her defender, followed by a laser assist to Sophie Cunningham under the basket. On the other end, Tahina fired right back with a long 3, and Cunningham answered immediately. It became a back-and-forth shooting clinic, each team trading haymakers. But then came the moment that set social media ablaze. Clark was hit with a technical foul, preseason. Nothing flagrant, just frustration after yet another missed call. She may have stared down a ref, said a few choice words, but in context, it was mild. And yet, she got tagged. Meanwhile, moments earlier, she'd been hit in the face, and nothing was called. The imbalance wasn't just obvious, it was insulting. Clark responded the only way she knows how, by torching the defense. On the next possession, she hit a filthy step-back 3 in the face of her defender. It was personal. That was her message. You want to target me? Fine, but you're going to feel it. Tahina, though, wasn't done either. Later in the quarter, she crossed Clark up and sent her stumbling, prompting a huge reaction from the crowd and her bench. It was the kind of moment that instantly goes viral, not because it embarrassed Clark, but because it validated Paopao's fearlessness. Still, the Fever kept their heads. Boston and Mitchell made timely plays, and Indiana went into the breakup 42-40. Early in the third, the momentum wavered. Sophie Cunningham went down awkwardly after grabbing a rebound and rolled her ankle. It looked bad. Fortunately, Coach Christy Sides later confirmed it wasn't serious, but the moment left the Fever momentarily rattled. With Sophie out, Clark stepped back into the driver's seat. She went right at Alicia Gray, finishing through contact, then delivered one of her best passes of the night, a no-look bounce pass to a cutting Boston, splitting 2 defenders perfectly. The chemistry between those two continues to grow, and it's showing up in the form of seamless actions in the half court. Kelsey Mitchell added her own highlight reel play, a crossover and spin into a banked finish that brought the Indiana bench to its feet, but Atlanta kept coming. Brianna Jones powered her way to back-to-back buckets, muscling through contact. The Dream were physical and aggressive, and it paid off. But then came the most egregious moment of the night. Clark drove into the paint and got hammered, a hard, swinging foul to the face from Ryan Howard. Clark hit the hardwood. And the whistle? Silent. No common foul, no review, just play on. It was stunning. Even more troubling was the very next play, where Damiris Dantas took contact, and again, no whistle. The outrage was immediate. Fans online erupted, pundits called it out, and the sentiment was universal. This is not how you treat your league's biggest star. Still, Clark didn't pout. She didn't lash out. She threw a full court pass on the next play for an easy layup. That's leadership. That's poise. That's the maturity people claimed she didn't have coming in. End of the third. Fever 63, Dream 59. With most starters resting in the fourth, the game shifted into the hands of the bench, and Lexi Hull took over. The former Stanford standout was electric. She dropped a no-look dime to Temifak Benley, then hit a smooth mid-range jumper, followed by a tough finish through traffic for the and one. She played with urgency, energy, and confidence, and it changed the tone of the quarter. Indiana's lead ballooned to double digits. Jaylen Brown, the WNBA version, not the Celtics star, nailed a deep three to stretch it further, and when Atlanta tried to rally, Hull responded every time. She came off a curl and drained a jumper, then closed the door with a fade away from the foul line that sealed the deal. Final score, Fever 81, Dream 76. Lexi Hull was phenomenal, 14 points, 11 of them in the fourth quarter alone, with 5 rebounds and 4 assists to boot. Caitlin Clark had a quiet night by her standards, 13 points, 7 assists, and 6 boards, but played a composed, high IQ game despite the unrelenting contact and uneven officiating. Mitchell added 11 points. Boston was solid inside, and the bench stepped up in every area. The most encouraging thing for Indiana, this team is deep. In 3 preseason games, they've had 3 different leading scorers. The ball is moving, the defense is improving, and the chemistry is real. Lexi Hull summed it up best post-game. We're a deep team. Everyone's bought into trusting the process. It might not start off super pretty, but we know that by the end of the season, we'll be exactly where we want to be. That level of internal trust and role clarity is something Indiana simply didn't have last year. And now, all eyes turn to opening night, the matchup everyone's been waiting for. Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese, Fever versus Sky. The rematch of the 2023 NCAA title game, the clash of 2 electrifying rookies, and 2 teams desperate to climb the standings. The storylines are rich, the stakes are high, and the drama already dialed to 100. This isn't just about basketball anymore, this is culture, this is visibility, this is primetime sports. And if Indiana can carry this energy, depth, and fire into the regular season, they're not just playoff hopefuls, they might be something more.